President, please be seated. The court is now back in session. Before I give the floor to the defense counsel for the accused, I would like to know whether any of the judges have any question to put to the civil party. You may now proceed, Judge Franz.
Thank you, President. Witness, I want to take you back to the visit of the dignitaries at your work site. Now, before I ask questions, we know this is 40 years back and was probably a rather short incident. So if you do not remember something, then please tell me I don't remember. Do you understand that?
Yeah.
Answer, yes.
So back to this incident when the dignitaries visited. You told us they came by car, and you were there with lots of people. Now, and then they were pointed out to you by, I think, Yon or Yun, as Nunchia, Kheu Sampang, and Pol Pot. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Answer, yes, that is correct.
Now, I want to know, at the time they were pointed out to you, was this when they were still there? Or was it before they came? Or was it after they left?
Answer. Before that time, she told me that Angka would come to the place. And on that day, that was true, Angka was coming. And after Angka went back, she told me the names of those dignitaries.
So let me clarify your last sentence. At the time when she said Kheu Sampang, Nunchia, and Pol Pot have been here, they had already left, or were they still here?
Answer, they had already left.
I see. So you didn't actually know who of the people who had been here was Kheu Sampang and was Nunchia. You just knew they had, or were told they had been there. Is that correct?
Yeah, but
Answer, yes, that is correct. I did not know who was who.
So you couldn't put a face to the name.
Answer, I did not know the three dignitaries.
Okay. Yeah, basically. Yeah, just tell us perhaps when you were told, or when the three were identified, where were you at the time? Still at the work site, or did that happen in another place?
Answer, I was working in the mobile unit near the railway station of Kok Chamba.
And you were still outside in this place when Jon told you the guys who have just left, or among the guys who have just left, there were Nun Chia, Kheu Sampang, and Pol Pot. You were still in the same place.
Cha.
Answer, yes, I was still working there. It was not yet the time to break.
How far were you away from the group of dignitaries when you saw them?
Cha.
Answer, when I saw them, they were standing to the right of me, and they were about 5 or 6 meters from me. They were standing on the national road, and I was working down there in the work site.
Were you just looking up from work, or were you actually standing there, for instance, greeting them?
Cha.
Answer, I was carrying earth at that time. I was shouldering the earth carrier at that time.
So how long did you actually see them? Couple of seconds, couple of minutes, half an hour?
Cha.
Answer, it was a brief moment. It was not for 1 hour.
អត់ដឹងប្រហែលនាទី
I did not know how many minutes that I saw them. It was just a brief moment.
Do you today remember the faces of the people you saw 40 years ago at that time and place?
Cha.
Answer, I did not recognize and recall their faces. I saw frequently two individuals, Ta Mok and Ta San.
So if we showed you photos today, would you be able, of some of the people who came, would you be able to say, this person was here, this person was here, beside Tamok and Tasan?
Answer, I did not recall them.
And there's my last question. Oh, sorry. My last question, you said you knew Tamok well. Why did you know Tamok well?
Cha.
Answer, while I was working there, Tamok was living in a house on the water in the east, and he frequently drove on the national road. Sometimes he was alone, and sometimes he was with the messenger. He would come to the work site to examine all of us the longest 10 days per month.
Thank you. That concludes my question.
President, you may proceed, Judge Laven.
Oui, merci, Monsieur le Président. Monsieur le Président, j'aimerais avoir votre autorisation.
Yes, thank you, Mr. President. Mr. President, I would request your leave to show a video. The reference is E3/3091 arrow.
President, there is interference in the sound. Court officer, please work with the AV unit to deal with this matter. President, you may resume your line of questioning, Judge Laven.
Voilà. Je vous demandais, Monsieur le Président, s'il...
Mr. President, I was requesting you whether it would be possible for you to allow me to show a video with the following references: E3/3091 as well as reference V00172427, and from the 43 minutes 13 seconds and 43 minutes and 57 seconds. So I would request your leave to place this video on the screen for us to know whether the civil party can recognize any persons who feature in the sequence.
President, AV unit, you are instructed to project the video as requested by Judge Laven.
Voilà, Madame. Est-ce que vous pouvez nous dire...
There we are, Madam. Can you tell us whether you have recognized any persons on the video extract that has just been shown?
ចា
Answer, I saw Tasan. I knew Tasan.
Avez-vous reconnu d'autres personnes?
Did you recognize any other persons other than Tasan?
ចាស់អត់
Answer, no.
Monsieur le Président, pour qu'il n'y ait pas d'ambiguïté,
Mr. President, in order to avoid an ambiguity, may I request that the video be shown again and that the civil party tell us at the specific time when she recognizes Tasan.
President, AV unit, please play the video once again.
voilà. Madame la participante.
Madam Civil Party, I think the idea in showing you this video again is to enable you to tell us the point at which you recognize Tassan, do you understand what I am telling you? There may well be a translation problem. Is it understandable in Khmer?
ចាយល់
Answer, yes, I understand.
Sur cette
So, on this video, you have indeed recognized Tassan. Oh, by the way, did you recognize Tassan or not?
ចាខ្ញុំស្គាល់
Answer, yes, I recognize him.
ប្រកាសគាត់ខ្ញុំ
He is a bit bald. He now changed his surname.
Civil party will play this video again, and as soon as you see Tassan, say stop. Do you understand that?
Microphone is not activated.
បាទហើយផ្នែក
President, AV units, please play the video footage once again. And when you heard the word stop by civil party, please pause the video.
Nè Tassan
This is Tassan.
ប្រកាសគាត់រៀងតងីលងា
So he had no hair, you could see on the forehead. He was young at that time, and now he is quite old.
ផ្ដាច់បាន
President, you can stop playing video now. Victor Koop.
She raised her hand when she actually saw him, but the video stopped later. So I saw her, I think she positively recognized him, but the video stopped at the moment that it was obviously not the person. So maybe it would be wiser to ask her to raise her hand and we all watch, and then she can recognize the person.
IT ចាក់ផ្សាយ
President, AV unit, please play the video footage again. And we decided to change the approach of projecting the video. And when you hear Judge Davan said stop, could you please pause the video footage there?
I know she recognizes, but that obviously I think is the way it shouldn't be done, because then we're leading the civil party into recognizing the person. Because, but in this time it's immaterial, but for next time it should be not in a leading way. But for now I don't have any problem with it, because I know she recognizes it.
And the process is on record, so...
True.
Attendez, je comprends pas. Maître Copé,
Counsel Copé, I do not understand. How would I be leading the witness? At no point in time have we sought to lead the witness.
No, but if you now stop at the image of Tassan and then you ask her, is this the person? Then of course that is leading. So it's better to have her see the video again and then raise her hand at the moment she sees him. We can all watch her, and then it would be completely neutral. In effect, this particular moment, it doesn't make any difference, because I know she recognizes her.
President, the problem is that the moment she raised her hand, the picture or the video footage already passed. And there is no objection from the defense counsel. So I think there is no problem concerning this matter. We heard only observation from the defense counsel of the accused, Judge Lavin. Do you have any further question to put to the civil party?
juste pour être absolument sûr.
To be absolutely sure that the witness has recognized the person, let us show her the video again. And when I say stop, we'll ask the civil party to tell us whether she recognizes the person on the screen.
President, AV unit, please play the video as instructed by Judge Lavin.
Voilà, stop.
Stop. Do you recognize that person?
Answer, yes, I recognize him.
On a vu une autre personne.
We saw another person before the one we have just seen on the screen. Was that other person also Tassan?
I recognize the photo in the screen. It is Tassan. He was young before and he is now old, and he had no hair on his forehead.
Je pense qu'il faut que...
I think we should backtrack a little up to the previous image when we saw another face. And at that point we will pause and I'll put another question to the civil party. Honorable Judge Lavin, perhaps before we look at the other image, we should identify the minutes on the video, otherwise the transcript will miss out on that detail.
Voilà, mais je pense que ces informations seront...
I think such information is noted on the transcript. I don't have that information at my in my possession. I think you can see the minutes on the screen. All we need to do is to show the video, and we'll note the minutes below the image, unless I'm mistaken.
ហើយទីចាក់ផ្សាយ
President, every unit, please play the video footage once again.
Stop.
Stop. So we are at 43 minutes, 27 seconds. Madam, do you recognize this person?
ចាខ្ញុំ
Answer, yes, I recognize.
Et qui c'est?
And who is he?
តាសាន
He is Tasan.
Bien. Est-ce qu'on peut
Very well. Can we continue viewing the video?
Stop.
Stop. We are at 43 minutes, 34 seconds. Madam, do you recognize this person?
ចាខ្ញុំ
Yes, I recognize him.
Et c'est la même personne.
And is that the same person, Tasan?
ចា
Answer, yes.
Very well. I thank you for the record. I think it is 43 minutes and 35 seconds. Thank you. I have no further questions for the civil party.
President, I now hand over the floor to the defense counsel for the accused. First, you may proceed, defense counsel for Mr. Nguyen.
Thank you, Mr. President. Good morning, Madam Civil Party. I have some additional questions to put to you. Did Yoon, when she spoke to you about the visitors, tell you how she knew that these visitors were Khieu Samphan, Nuon Chea, and Pol Pot?
Answer. This person was the chief of unit number 3. This individual was the base person.
I understand, but when she spoke to you, did she tell you how she knew that these people that you had just seen were in fact Pol Pot, Nuon Chea, and Khieu Samphan?
Answer. It was in 1977. I did not recall the month of the year.
Let me try again, Mr. President. Madam Civil Party, did Yoon, when she spoke to you about the visitors, did she tell you how she learned that these people that you had seen were Pol Pot, Nuon Chea, and Khieu Samphan?
What?
Answer. She knew these people by herself.
And did she tell you how she knew these people by herself?
Answer. She only said that she knew this person by these people by herself. That's it.
So she didn't say to you that she had met them before, had seen them before, maybe in a magazine, during a meeting, anything?
ចា៎
Answer. No.
គាត់អត់មានប្រាប់
She did not told me this.
And Madam Civil Party, you just said earlier to a question of one of the judges that the high-ranking Angkar people were about 5 to 6 meters away from you. Would that be about the same amount that there is between you, where you sit, and me, where I ask questions?
ចា៎
Answer. Yes.
And when you look at me, can you see my face clearly?
ឃើញច្បាស់
Answer. Yes. I can see clearly.
And is it correct that when you saw these dignitaries from Angkar, Tamok was one of them?
ចា៎
Answer. Yes.
You told us also that you knew Tamok quite well. Mr. President, with your leave, I would like to show something that we have prepared earlier yesterday. It's a collage of 10 photos, and the purpose of showing this document to her is asking her if she could identify Tamok in one of these photos.
President, you may please, court officers, please go and take the photos for civil party to have a look.
Madam,
តែក៏អត់ចេះអក្សរលោក
President, please note that the civil party is illiterate, so court officer, please sit close to the civil party to assist this civil party when there is question by the party.
Madam Civil Party, take all your time that you need to have a look at all of these 10 photos, and then please tell the court officer if one of the people that you see on this photo is, in your recollection, Tamok. Mr. President, I see the court officer saying something. Madam Civil Party, do you recognize Tamok on this list of photos?
ចា៎
Answer. He in the photo he was young, with his cap on his head, and during the time back in the past, he rarely wore his cap, and he was young at that time.
Madam Civil Party, would you be so kind and tell the court officer next to you if you recognize the photo, and could you then please point the photo which you think is Tamok, and then tell this to the court officer.
President, Madam Civil Party, do you recognize one of any individuals in the list of 10 photos? You just say you don't recognize any of them if you don't recognize. Civil Party, I don't recognize any one of them.
Let me ask then a few more other questions. You said that you were very close distance when you saw the high dignitaries. Mr. Court Officer, please. Mr. Court Officer, please stay, because I would like to ask some more questions to the Civil Party. You said that you recognize other high dignitaries. Is any of the people that you see on the photo
President, Civil Party appears to give clear response already that she does not recognize any one of them. So do you have any other question in relation to the same question, or do you want to put a leading question for the Civil Party?
I'm not, maybe something went wrong in translation. I thought she said only that she didn't recognize Tamok. I'm not quite sure if I heard, or maybe I didn't hear it, that she didn't recognize anybody. Because if that is...
President, Madam Ong Sa Ruon, among the photo in the list here, 10 photos, do you recognize any one of them? Civil Party, I do not recognize any one of them in the list of photos. President, do you recognize any one of them in the list of 10 photos? President, do you understand my question, Madam Civil Party? Here you have a list of 10 photos. They are different people. So among them all, do you recognize one of them?
No, I don't. Because when they put their caps on, I do not recognize anyone.
I'll leave the subject, Mr. President. Madam Civil Party, I have a few...
President, Court Officer, please return to your seat.
Madam Civil Party, I have a few other questions that I would like to put to you. Earlier this morning, you testified that your one-year-old child unfortunately died of measles. Do you remember if there were other children in Lebor or in Tramkok district who had died at young age of the measles?
Yes, there were. the children who were between 2 to 3 years old, many of them died when they were being looked after by the old women.
Do you remember how many children died of measles? Was it a few? Were there many? Do you remember?
Near the house that I stayed, for those young children, there were about 7 or 8 of them died.
Thank you, Madam Civil Party. Now, another question that I have for you is the following. You said earlier this morning that the base people had enough to eat, but that the 17 April people did not have enough to eat. Can you tell us a little bit more about how you knew this, how you know this? What was your observation in that regard?
They had enough to eat because they told me that.
អ្នកស្គាល់ក៏
Those people who lived in the same village that I lived told me about this.
But how do you know then that other 17 April people did not have enough to eat?
I knew it because my mother and I were given a share part of gruel, and each of us will be given a ladle of gruel.
But at the beginning, let's say 1975, 1976, did you eat together in the same communal hall with the base people? Did they eat together, 17 April people and the base people?
At the beginning, the 17 April people and the people in K2 ate together communally. Later on, they would take the 17 April people and they would eat separately from the other group.
Do I understand your testimony correctly that at the time that base people and 17 April people were eating together, both categories had the same food? Is that correct?
No, that was not correct.
How so? You were eating in the same communal building. 17 April people and base people were mixed together, as I understand. How was it that the base people ate more than the 17 April people?
At that time, and that was at the beginning, the best people had their houses and the new people lived nearby, but later on they were divided into separate groups and they ate differently.
That is how I understood your testimony, but at the time when everybody was still eating together, everybody had the same food ration. Is that correct?
No, that was not correct. The letter on the 17 April people was put in a separate group and not to mix with the base people.
But my question was, when people were still eating together, mixed, then everybody was eating the same thing. Is that correct?
No.
Can you explain to us what happened when you were eating together? Were base people getting more rice or more gruel or more vegetables? And if yes, how did that go?
The base people had or were allowed to ask from the other base people working in the kitchen, but as for us, the 17 April people, we were not allowed to go into the kitchen as they were afraid that we would put a poison into the food. And for old people who could not go to work will be sent back home. And that also applies to people who fell sick.
But at the tables, where everybody was eating together, the same thing was served for everybody. Is that correct?
No. The thing was that the 17 April people were allowed to eat first, and after that the base people would take turn to eat, and when the base people ate, they had more food, they have big fish to eat.
And how would the people who were in charge of this communal dining place know who were 17 April people and who were the base people? How would they know?
Because they took down the names. Because the group chiefs would take down the names of their members and then gave the list of names to the village chief.
3 times per day? At breakfast, lunch and dinner?
No, there were only 2 meals. One was for lunchtime and one was at dinner time.
But 2 times per day, this procedure was followed. Is that what you're saying, Madam Civil Party?
Yeah.
Each day we were given 2 meals. In the morning and in the evening.
Yes, but my question was about if certain people got more to eat than other people. I'm trying to understand what you're saying. So how did that go?
The base people worked in the kitchen, and the other base people knew one another, probably from, I don't know, maybe around 1971 or 72, so they could go to the kitchen. And for us, the 17 April people, they knew who we were because our names were recorded on a list.
You described earlier this morning the killing of a child, a 15-year-old child, because you said that the child had stolen food. However, before you were recounting this story, you said that you yourself had also stolen food once, but that you were only re-educated and were sent back and were given a warning. Can you tell us why this was different with that child of 15?
The child stole some rice and he was taken away and killed. As for me, I was disciplined and I was re-educated, and I swore to them that I would not do it again, and later on they sent me to work at Chamka Siem.
But can you explain us the difference? Why did you just get a warning, and why are you saying that this child did not get the same warning that you had gotten?
The economic people reported through a teacher, and the teacher have a messenger came to take that child away.
Madam Civil Party, in your so-called victim information form, D22/2500, English ERN 010699306. Khmer. I don't have the Khmer right now. I will get it as soon as possible, Mr. President. I apologize. You said that you were not only very forgetful, but you also said that you have a mental disorder. What do you mean when you wrote that down, or when you said that you have a mental disorder?
Because at that time I could not sleep, and I kept recalling the events that happened in the past. However, I still could recall all those stories.
I understand, Madam Civil Party, but not being able to sleep, of course, is one thing, but the mental disorder is something quite different. Would you be able to tell us what you meant when you used the words that mental disorder to describe your medical situation?
Yeah.
I got some medicines from an organization probably named as a TPO.
And did TPO tell you that you have something which they call a mental disorder?
Yeah.
Yes, but later on when I went there again, then I was told that I no longer had it.
Thank you, Madam Civil Party. Thank you, Mr. President.
President, thank you, and the floor is now handed to the Defense Counsel for Kieu Sampon. You may proceed.
Merci, Monsieur le Président.
Thank you, Mr. President. Good morning, Mrs. Aung Sarun. My name is Anta Gise. I am the International Counsel for Mr. Kieu Sampon. And it is in this capacity that I would like to put a few questions to you. I'll ask very specific questions, and may I ask you to answer those questions as specifically as possible. A while ago, you stated that you applied to become a civil party at your own behest, and that you yourself came to the tribunal to fill out your civil party application form. Did I understand you correctly?
Yeah.
Yes, that is correct.
J'ai compris aussi que vous...
I also understood that you can neither read nor write, and that it was someone at the tribunal who helped you to fill out your application form. Is that correct?
No, that is not correct, because I remember the events well by myself.
Alors, je pense qu'on...
In that case, I think we are misunderstanding one another. My question to you is as follows. In order to fill out the form, the person who assisted you noted what you told him or her. Is that how things happened?
Yes, I told the events because I could not read and write, so then that person assisted me in the writing.
Est-ce que ensuite on vous a relu ce qui était...
Was what was written on the form subsequently read out to you before you signed it, or put your fingerprints on it?
Yes, it was read out to me.
Est-ce que parmi les questions qui étaient posées dans...
Do you recall whether among the questions that were put to you, there was a question regarding the presumed official?
I cannot recall it.
Vous avez indiqué tout à l'heure que...
A while ago, you stated that you knew Tamok because you saw him in your district between 1975 and 1979. Do you confirm that?
Yes, I confirm it because I knew him. But when I was asked to look at the black and white photos, I could not recognize it.
Vous avez indiqué...
You also stated that you did not know Kyo Sampan, but that you had heard one of your uncles utter his name. You also said that you only saw him once when he came to visit the worksite where you were. Is that correct?
Seule fois où vous le...
And that was the only time you saw him. Is that correct?
Yes, I saw him only one time. And before that, my uncle read newspapers and told me about his name. And while he went to visit the worksite that where I worked, I was busy working and I only had a quick look at him.
Et nous sommes d'accord que...
We agree that it was only subsequently after his departure and after the departure of those leaders that your unit head gave you the names of the leaders who had come to visit the worksite. Did I properly understand your testimony?
Yes. After they left, then I was told about that that was the name.
Est-ce que vous aviez entendu parler...
During the time of the events, did you ever hear of Ieng Sary?
I heard of the name Ieng Sary, but I did not know him. I only heard of his name.
Et Kangekiev alias
How about Kaingek Yev alias Deutsch? Did you hear his name mentioned between 1975 and 1979?
I heard of the name of Dutch, but I do not know this person.
Ma question était plus précise.
My question was more specific. I wanted to know whether you heard of him between 1975 and 1979, between the 17th of April 1975 and January 1979.
I heard of his name only after 1979. That I heard of his name and tool slang. But personally, I do not know about tool slang, nor did I know this individual.
Je vous pose des questions sur ces personnes.
I am putting questions to you on those persons, Ms. Ieng Sarun, because in your statement titled Report on Civil Party Application, unfortunately it only exists in English, document D22/2500/1. In that document, where they mention the presumed person responsible, they mention the names of Ieng Sary Tamok, Ieng Sary Kangek Yuk Deutsch. Are you the person who mentioned those names on the day of your interview when you had to fill out that form? Perhaps I should give the ERN number. I'm sorry I didn't give it. It's 0055 0904. My question is as follows. Are you the one who gave those names when you had the interview and filled out the forms?
Yeah.
President, interrupt civil party, please wait. And the international lead co-lawyer for civil parties, you have the floor.
Merci, Monsieur le Président.
Thank you, Mr. President. I would like to make a clarification on the nature of the document. There's usually the application for civil party. Application is the information form of the civil party. It is in English, and then you have a second document which is drafted by the victims unit, and that document is established after the application, and it is simply a summary drawn up by the victims unit, as is the case with all civil party applications, and that document is not signed by the victim, him or herself. So there is a time lapse. There's a time lapse between the time when the victim's information sheet is established and the report which is prepared by the victim support section. I just wanted to make this clarification so that we should understand the process whereby those documents are established. Counsel, he said, thanks for this clarification, but it is important for me to put questions to the civil party so that she can respond herself regarding the programs, the documents that are filled out and signed by the civil party. I have only the Khmer version. It is D22/2500. And since we do not have the full translation, be it in French or in English, I am obliged to give the ERN in Khmer, 00550909. And these names also appear on Ms. Ieng Sarun's information sheet. So my question remains relevant. Are you the person who mentioned those names?
Yes, I mentioned it by myself.
Ma question.
My question is therefore, why did you mention those names if you did not know those persons? And if you did not see them between 1975 and 1979, I am referring, in principle, to Deutsch and Ian Surrey, and whom you said you didn't know, you hadn't seen. Why did you mention their names on the form?
Because my uncle read to me the newspaper article.
លោកស្រីមេធាវីតើ
President, the Defense Council, can you inform the chamber as to how much time do you anticipate to conclude your questioning?
Mon confrère Copé ayant.
Since Council Copé started at 11 hours, normally I should conclude at midday because we decided that the two teams would share the time equally.
And do you wish to continue putting questions to the civil party, or shall we need to have a break now? We take into consideration the issue of the health of your client, as he expressly requests to adjourn the hearing at 11:30.
Je vous remercie, Monsieur le Président, de passer.
I thank you, Mr. President, for your concern. I believe that we could continue to midday. Since we are not meeting this afternoon, I will ask him to confirm that.
បាទអង្គជំរះ
President,
Oui, donc dans la mesure où
Yes, if there are no hearings this afternoon, the situation is manageable.
បន្តទៀតចា៎
if there is cash, then you can continue.
donc du coup je ne sais pas.
I've lost track of my question. Can you tell me why you mentioned the names of those persons, that is Yang Seri and Kangek Yves alias Deutsch? If you didn't see them during that period, and in principle, you did not meet them at Tramcock.
My uncle told me, and the other people knew them. Some elder people are now at around 89 or 90 years old.
Quand vous dites que
When you say that your uncle told you and saw the name in the newspaper, whose name did he see in the newspaper?
He mentioned the name of Kieu Sampont and Ieng Sari.
Et il a vu leur nom dans le journal à quel moment? C'était avant 75? Après 75? Après 79? À quel moment est-ce qu'il a vu leur nom dans le journal?
I don't know whether you guys can take relay now.
Answer. He read in 1973 or 74, my uncle was a former teacher in Dachau province.
Et le nom de Duik? Il l'avait vu avant?
What about the Dutch name? Did your uncle see his name before 1975?
Yes, I heard that in 1979.
Donc si vous avez entendu cela en 1979, on est d'accord que ce n'est pas votre oncle qui vous en a parlé.
So you heard that after 1979, it was not your uncle who told you. Answer. My uncle worked in Phnom Penh in the Royal Palace. He is now deceased. The name was Mob Yum. The whole family was killed. They were detained and after that were killed at Chung Ai. The whole family was killed, as I said.
Madame Aung Sarun, excusez-moi.
And Madame Aung Sarun, I have a very brief time, so please make your response brief and precise. My question to you is the following. The name Dutch verse, did your uncle mention that name when he read to you an article from the newspaper? Answer, yes. Question. And I want to know, when did he read that name Dutch from the newspaper to you? Can you recall which year? Answer, I cannot recall the year. Question. Was it after the arrival of the Vietnamese, or was it before that? Answer, I cannot recall it. Question. In your document, that is the 22/2500, you wrote down the names of Khieu Sampon and Nuon Chea as the persons whom you believe were responsible, but you failed to mention their alleged visit to Tram Kok. My question to you, why did you not mention their visit to Tram Kok? Answer, I saw them only once in 1977. Question. Of course, I understand that you saw them once, but my question to you is that why you did not mention about their visit in your victim information form. You mentioned several names, namely Tamok and other names. Why did you not mention about their visit to your worksite? Answer. Because I did not know a proper procedure to put or to write on the form. As you know, I cannot read or write. Question. Yes, I understand that, Madame Aung Sarun, but the form was filled in with the help of an assistant, and you only had to tell that person, and then the information that you told would be conveyed in writing on the form. And the question is, why at that time, why you did not mention about their visit to Tram Kok? Answer, I forgot about it. Question. We have a document on the 12th of March 2015, and that was a supplementary information form which was made by you, and you mentioned about that visit. Can you tell the chamber why suddenly you recalled about a visit that happened in 1977? Was you the person who contacted your lawyer, or was you asked by someone to recollect about what happened in 1977? Answer, no, there was no one. It was done personally by me. Question. You respond to the co-prosecutor about a woman by the name of Chu Kum Lon, and you stated that Chu Kum Lon was also present on that day at the work site where the leaders came to visit. Am I correct in making this statement? Answer. On that day, Chu Kum Lon was there, although she was in a different unit, but she was working nearby where I was working. Question. Is it correct to say that Chu Kum Lon was born in the same village that you were born, and currently she is still living in the same village as you are living? Answer, yes, that is correct. Question. Do you see her often? Answer, yes. Question. Have you spoken to her about the visit in 1977? Answer. Once in a while, when I saw her, we talked about it. But because she was in a different unit, we didn't talk much on this issue. Question. Did you talk about her testimony before this chamber? Answer. This is my first time that I appear before this chamber. Question. I do not mean about your testimony or that you ever testified before this court before or not, but my question to you is that did you discuss with Chu Kum Lon about her testimony on the 27th January 2015 when she mentioned about the visit of the delegation to Tram Kok? Did you talk with her about her testimony and not your testimony? Answer, no, I did not talk to her about her testimony at all. Question. Let me put it in another way. Whom did you contact in order to provide supplementary information about the visit of Pol Pot, Ieng Nun Chi, and Khieu Sampon in Tram Kok? When did you contact your lawyer or another individual regarding this additional information? Answer, no, I did not contact any information. I came forward with that information myself. Question. To whom did you provide that information? Answer. As I stated, I tried to come to the court, and because of my memory issue, I can't even remember the location of the court, and for that reason I asked for an assistant to fill in the form of what I told that person about the events during the regime. Question. That was the first time that you fill in the form in 2010. But I refer to the time that you provided additional information and you assigned that document as well. That is document E344.1. And this is a supplementary information form, and it was made in the presence of your lawyer. And my question to you is, when did you make contact with your lawyer in order to provide that information? President, civil party, please hold on. And the international lead co-lawyer for civil parties, you have the floor. Thank you, Mr. President. I'd like to remind the parties the following. In document E344, we clearly stated that the way that we received that supplementary information, Chu Kum Lon provided the information. So we clearly stated that. And we also stated why we needed, why we knew about that information. Defense counsel, no, I did not want to know about when the lawyer was aware of that information. My question was through the civil party as to how she contacted her lawyer to provide that further information, and how could she discuss about the content of the testimony of Chu Kum Lon. We have the right to ask questions in order to ascertain the truth. We never mentioned about the transparency issues by the lead co-lawyers for the civil parties.
Oui, Maître Antaguissé, cette ligne
de... Counsel Antaguissé. You cannot put a question that way, in particular when it comes to the confidentiality between the lawyer and his or her client. When you raise that question, it's going to be problematic. Counsel. No, I did not ask her about how she, or what she said to her lawyer. But in that request, the information in that form was not confidential, and it is stated by the lawyer as well. And of course, to my understanding, there was a discussion about this new fact, because that information was included in the case file only in 2015, and she made the application form as a civil party since 2010. And my question is, I want to know how come she can't recall about that event, or whether she has any contact or she discussed with Chu Kum Lon about the testimony that she made before this chamber. And as the lead co-lawyer said, that information was contained in the request. However, my question is directed only to the civil party as to whom she contacted in order to provide that further information. And I want to know whether she was the one who came up or who came forward with that information. Judge Lavange. The civil party has her own lawyer, so you can actually contact her lawyer. Counsel Goucher. My question to her is that as to who contacted her for further information, and to me that is not a confidential issue. And when it comes to the issue of confidentiality, of course, we abide by that. And as it's stated in the information, and it is stated clearly in the request that there was a communication with the other civil party. President, Counsel Kung Sam On, you can proceed. Kung Sam On. In order to clarify the issue raised by Judge Lavange on document E344.1, in fact, that document did not state whether it was done by the lawyer. For that reason, we can put the question as to how the document was made. And for that reason, there is no issue of confidentiality between of the communication between the lawyer and her client. President, Judge for Defense, you have the floor.
Counsel, in order not to lose more time, just be mindful of the privilege, and we invite the co-lead lawyers to raise their hands once they feel there has been an infringement. Go ahead.
Madame Umsaron, vous venez de nous indiquer que
Counsel, Madame Ungsarun, you stated that you yourself came to the court to provide further information. Am I correct in saying so? Yes, I did it personally. Question. After you discuss with Chu Kumlon, did you make that decision to provide further information after that discussion? Answer, yes. Question. You stated that you saw Khmer Rouge leaders came to visit at your work site, and you also stated that Tamok came in a vehicle, and there was another vehicle which came along. Is my understanding correct? Answer, I don't understand your question. Question. On that day, on the day that you saw the Khmer Rouge leaders, how many cars did you see? Answer, there were 2 cars. Question. Did you see Khmer Rouge leaders getting off a car or cars? Answer, no, I did not see them getting off the cars, but I remember there were 2 cars. And then when I saw them, they were walking. Question. How many leaders did you see on that day? Answer. I saw 5 of them, including the commune chief. Question. You said that you saw Tassan. Are you still standing by your statement? Answer. Yes, I saw Tassan. Because Tassan came through my village rather often, as he had relatives living there. Question. can you tell the court the first time that you saw a Tasan in your village? President, the time is running out, Counsel.
Si je comprends bien,
Counsel, Madame Ungsarun, you said that you saw Tasan many times before you saw him again on the day of the visit in 1977. Am I correct? Answer, yes, that is correct. Question. When you saw him in your village, what was his position at that time? Did you see him before the visit in 1977? And if so, what was his position? Answer. I did not know which position he held. I only knew that he worked at the commune level. President, Defense Counsel, your time expired. And court officer, please make arrangement with the AB unit in order to change the DVD recording. President, Madame Ung Sarun, as a civil party, you are given an opportunity to make a statement of impact before this chamber. And the impact about harms caused by the two accused, Nuon Chea and Khieu Sampont, that took place during the Democratic Cambodia regime, which led you to become a civil party, requesting for moral and collective reparation, as well as the harms inflicted upon you, physically, materially, or emotionally, or any direct consequence of those harms. And if you wish to do so, the floor is yours. Civil party. I would like to seek an individual award for the loss of my materials and properties, and for the loss of the lives of my husband and my relatives. President, is there anything else you would like to add? I have some questions to put. The first question is the following. Why when I worked very hard and not given sufficient food to eat? My second question. What was the reason that for the execution of my family, my mother, my relatives? Third question. why no clothing was provided to us, and that is all. President, do you wish to put the 3 questions to the accused or to the chamber? Civil party, I mean to direct it to the accused. President, the chamber wishes to inform you, Madame Ong Sarun, that after ascertaining the truth, the position of both accused on 8 January 2015 regarding the exercise of the right to remain silent, the chamber notes that the 2 accused maintain their expressed positions unless and until such time as the chamber is expressly informed otherwise by the co-accused or their counsels. It is therefore incumbent upon them to inform the chamber in a timely and efficient manner should the accused resolved to waive the right to remain silent and be willing to respond to questions by the bench or relevant parties at any stage of the proceedings. And as of today, the chamber is not informed that the co-accused have changed their expressed position and thus agreed to provide their responses to questions. Today's proceeding has come to an adjournment. We will adjourn the proceeding now and will resume on Monday, 30 March 2015, commencing from 9 o'clock in the morning. And on next Monday, the chamber will hear the testimony of Dutman via video conferencing from the United States of America as informed through the parties. And the testimony of Mr. Dutman is conducted only in the morning from 8 to 9 o'clock for a series of 3 days from Monday to Wednesday. And Councillor Coupe, you have the floor.
Thank you, Mr. President. I actually have a request relating to the upcoming witness, Richard Dutman. We just received an email from the senior legal officer 20 minutes ago indicating that the order of questioning the witness has been revised. As you know, we have asked for this witness, and it seems I deduct from the email that it is now the trial chamber who will start with the questioning, and then prosecution, and then us. So clearly this is a change to the normal practice and procedure, and we would like to request clarification as to the reasons why the trial chamber deems this necessary.
President, that is the working arrangement decided by the chamber. The chamber has to take into account the questions by the bench. And due to the time constraint of hearing the testimony of this witness, that is 2 hours for a series of 3 days, the chamber took into account all these concerns, and in order to make the hearing, the proceeding of the testimony of this person more effective, we decided to do so as the witness is very old. He is 95 years old already. And that is the arrangement and the discretion of this chamber to hear this particular witness. As well as the time allocation for a witness or a civil party, of course, the chamber doesn't have to abide by any request by any of the parties to the proceeding. The chamber will decide the time allocation accordingly for an effective arrangement of the proceedings. And the Deputy Co-Prosecutor, you have the floor.
Merci, Monsieur le Président.
Thank you, Mr. President. I don't have any observation or comments to make, and I do not object to the order of questioning this witness and whether it is afforded to the defense teams to put the questions first. We do not have any objection to that. Lead co-lawyer for civil party. As for us, we do not have any objections, and the defense teams can put the questions first. We don't have any problem with that. President, thank you for your comments, and we will make an arrangement necessary on Monday. And I think there is a confusion of the date of birth. In fact, it shall be on the 31st of March and the 1st of April, and it is conducted only for the morning sessions from 8 to 10. And Madame Ong Sarun, the Chamber is grateful of your valuable time to testify as a civil party this morning, and your testimony may contribute to ascertaining the truth in this case. And the hearing of your testimony is now concluded, and you may be excused from the court and return to your residence or wherever you wish to go to. And the Chamber wishes you a safe journey. Court officer, in collaboration with WISU, please make necessary transportation for Ms. Sarun to go to wherever she wishes to go to, and security personnel to instructed to take the two accused back to the detention facility of the ECCC and return them to the courtroom on Monday morning on the 30th of March 2015 before 8 o'clock. The court is now adjourned.